buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air. Fuck them back, it's only for they bomb. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one makes countries. Lie to your face, fight and die, 'cause God forgives. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social side, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. See their shit, force a bear. Fuck them back, that's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one leaves countries. Lie to your face, fight and die, 'cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again.
Okay, welcome to the show. This is Game On UCY.TV, and it is Thursday, the 6th of August. And I'm your host, Ron Stevens. I'm going to be here for the next hour, and I almost missed the show. I was actually doing the supper dishes, and about 6:45, because this is my first show on Thursday. I've been busy today, so my wife cooked a nice dinner, and I was doing the dishes, and then she heard me yell, "Damn!" And then she come around the corner and kind of went, "Damn, you got a show at 7." Yes, I do. So we made it, so that's all well and good. So we here in Canada are in election mode, I guess, now. And I've been tossing around a thing in Facebook a bit today when I had time, and yesterday. And it boggles my mind that you can, well, anybody that's been working at trying to wake people up for any length of time get what I'm about to say. It's mind-boggling. I guess as Carlin say, that people want to remain willfully ignorant. It's difficult to watch. Here in Canada, we have this, and you have to excuse me when I say in Canada, I mean, what else am I going to say, right? You know, we all know Canada's a corporation, it's a piece of paper, but, you know, we'll just run with it. So, you know, you have the different factions. I mean, there's a real hate Harper movement going, right? I mean, which is funny, because people don't realize that they're all puppets anyways. None of them represent the people. And so I've been hacking away a little bit at these people on Facebook. So we have the NDP guy, I think his name is Tom Mulcair. And there's a big NDP faction, right? Pushing and pushing and pushing. Most of them probably don't know the background on this guy. They don't care. They get caught up in this stuff. And so, you know, whenever there's an election, you normally hate the guy that's in there for obvious reasons. And they're always looking for this hero. And I see the same thing in the States all the time. You know, they're always looking for a hero. Donald Trump seems to be getting a lot of airplay right now. And you go, give me a friggin' break. You know, how can this many people be this silly? Donald Trump is going to save America? Holy crap. I think we ought to pick one of the two countries, folks. We got lots of room up here, so it would be probably easier for intelligent Americans that get it just to move north, and we got lots of room, man, and we'll send our idiots down south, and we'll just put a big fence up, right? Kind of like the border that's supposed to be between Mexico and the United States. Maybe we'll just put a border up all the way across, and put all the loonies somewhere else and get all the intelligent people and bring them here. And besides that would bring the unemployment rate to absolutely zero. I forget exactly how many kilometers it is across Canada from one side to the other, but I believe it's over 3,000. So that would make a pretty good start for employment. And then we would just go and build our own factories and build, manufacture what we need. And because there's nothing here we can't build, engineer, or manufacture or grow here. And then once we get what we need, we actually go back to building products that actually last a long time, like my 1950 some odd McClary refrigerator that's sitting in my brother-in-law's garage right now. And let's see, it's got to be 30 years since I first picked that fridge up, and nobody has put a wrench on it yet. And it runs like a kitten. So, if we got back to manufacturing stuff that actually lasts, we would have a whole lot of free time to enjoy ourselves. And that's what you're supposed to do in life. You're not supposed to be sitting in a traffic jam. And you're not supposed to be working 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week trying to keep a roof over your head. That's not what life is supposed to be about. So that's, let's build the wall. Anyways, I ran across a video today that kind of bummed me out and inspired me all at the same time. Now, this happened, I think it happened in the spring. I don't have the exact timeline on it, but I'm going to throw this video anyways in the chat because I think it says a lot. Now, this is a video that was, this is a raid by they call it the Royal Colonial Mounted Police, which is more correct. Well, it's the same thing as saying the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Royal Colonial Mounted Police, same deal. The native people, I believe it's in New Brunswick, the native people get it. It's all about defending our land. And believe it, it is our land. I've said this before, I don't know how many times. There would have been nothing built on these lands if we hadn't built it. The politicians didn't build anything. The bankers didn't build anything. Okay? We built it all. Our forefathers built it. We built it. And it belongs to us because we built it. And again, possession 90% of the law, we possess the land because our feet are on it. And, I've spent so many years, with people fighting wind turbines or this one deal or another deal. And, every time we go to one of these things, it's always the police there saying, they're there to keep the peace. But they're always on the side of the corporation. And there's a reason for that, because the police are corporate. And they are employees of the Crown. And these companies that come into your neck of the woods to wreak havoc on you are all instituted by the Crown. The rules and regulations are put through the legislature by the bankers and the lawyers, and then ascended up through the Queen, which is the Crown. So the police always defend the Crown because they're employees of the Crown. Therefore, they always protect the corporate interest and tend to run the people over. And it really sickened me all the time when I go to these meetings and that, and see what happens, and watch how the people back down all the time. It really makes me ill. I don't know why they can't get it, but they don't seem to be able to get it. So this particular video is called Showdown at Highway 134. And these are the native people. What happened is the company's coming they want to start fracking on the Indian land or the native lands. And the native people are going, don't think so. And there was a pile of cops in there. And the native people just stood their ground. And somebody always, see, this is the thing. Somebody always has to blink, okay? We were brought up, I wasn't, but the majority of the people were brought up to blink instantly. As soon as you blink, you lose. It's that simple. Yeah, it's that bloody simple. And the native people refused to blink. And I want to take my hat off to them for their efforts. Now, they set a string of colonial police vehicles on fire, power to them. But there's no real violence. They just stood their ground. And the police, there was a ton of police with their shields and their riot gear and their mace and their tear gas and all the rest of the crap. Have police in this looked like something right out of the United States. Just kidding about that. Wink, wink. But that was it was a paramilitary offense against the native people in order to give to take over the land of the native people and give it over to fracking to a corporate entity. And, you know, this whole thing, I grew up in a country where people, ever since I was young, all I ever heard from people was, well, you can't fight City Hall and the government will do what it wants and yada, yada, yada. What are you going to do? I thought, what a beaten bunch of knobs, man. How did you get like this? Well, through education, I guess, through the public school systems. And believing the government is what it is, but it isn't. So I'm going to put this in, because if you haven't seen this video, I think it really does show what we really have to do. And it's always been the same way. Like I said, somebody's going to back down. And if you've already decided you ain't backing down, then you're not backing down. And that leaves only the other party that can back down. And we haven't been doing enough of that. So I'm quite proud of the native people who stood their ground. And I'd like to see more of that from the average Joe in our communities, because they're being ripped asunder. And they always use the same thing when they come into a community. It's all about divide and conquer. You can take a perfectly normal. I've witnessed this so many times. I'll just use the wind turbine nonsense for a bit. They come into a perfectly normal town or rural area, and where nobody's got any real fights going on, and they come in here and they start chucking money around. The local governments, and they're not governments, they're businesses, are being offered cash, and it'll help build things because they'll have to pay us taxes and that. And this other nonsense. And so you got a faction go, well, taxes are good. Yeah, if we got that tax, we could lower your tax. It's all a lie. But people keep falling for these lies, and I don't understand why. Because maybe it's just easier. Is it easier? You don't have to think. So then they get in and they weasel around and they offer this guy money and tell him a bunch of stupid stories that, like, if we don't put these wind turbines up immediately, there'll be no electricity left and you'll be responsible. I've heard that line before. So then, this family doesn't want one of these things beside them, but the other guy can't. Maybe he's financially strapped, and they're offering him free money. You kind of got to beware with that free money stuff. And before you know it, the community's tore to pieces. They're fighting amongst themselves. Families are getting ripped apart, all over some paper with ink on it. It really is pathetic. But they've been doing this for a very long time, and they're very good at it. And, because it's always a pattern, and I don't understand why people can't catch on to the pattern being used. It seems pretty simple to me. So, anyways, I've been having a little bit of fun on Facebook. Always trying to get reaction. And this is what I've been whacking into all of these political sites here in Canada, and it's a question to the candidates, and it basically goes like this. It's very simple. Will one or all candidates for prime minister please tell the voters the truth? The truth is, we ask for your vote, knowing we can never represent you. Once elected, we take an oath of allegiance to the Queen/Crown/corporations and are bound by that oath. Therefore, we cannot represent the people. We represent the Queen Crown Corporation, of which we become employees of when elected and swear the required oath. Canada is a corporation, and the government/cabinet is in reality the board of directors of the corporation. Now, I just ask which of them will step forward to tell the voter the truth. So far, I haven't heard from any of the candidates for prime minister. I got a funny feeling I'm not gonna. But that's reality. It's the same thing stateside, Australia, Britain, everywhere. Is a corporate world, and we're slaves of the corporate system. So, why are you out voting for these people? But when I put that little piece into these Facebook sites and that, who are pushing one candidate or another, they really seem to be having a hard time wrapping their brain around that. And it's the truth. But people are always looking for somebody to come and save them. We've had years of liberal, years of conservative, and in the States, really, you only get the two. The odd time we get something else cooking up here. So now we have the NDP here, which are looking pretty strong in the polls. And people actually believe that this party is going to come and save them. That's crazy. And when you throw the truth right out at them, they go, well, I don't want to hear that. Well, go ask your leader. If you're voting NDP or Liberal or Conservative, go ask those people, is this guy correct in what he's saying? Now, I always run with the caveat, if you can prove me wrong, I've done this my whole life. If you can prove me wrong, I will be the first to thank you for setting me straight. I'm not going to argue the point. If you can bring me the information that says that I am wrong, and it proves I'm wrong, I'm good with that. I'm absolutely good with that. So if I'm good with that, then why is the other side going, well, I don't want to hear this stuff. This guy's going to save our bacon. Like, has their mental capacity gotten that bad? Has their desire to know the truth, been, I don't know, the people, I guess it goes back to the hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil, but they're voting for the people who are evil. And that kind of throws me. Although, I got to say, on the other side, I'm quite happy that the number of people who have liked what I put into these particular political party sites has made me pretty happy because somebody out there is finally getting it, and that's a step in the right direction. So that's what we need to do. Now, I ran into something. I'm just gonna take a quick boo at. We're having our first debate up here or something tonight. I guess I won't be watching it. But let's see real quick what it says here in the paper. Canadian Election Debate 2015 live video and commentary. The debate hosted by Maclean's is the first, and Maclean's, of course, is one of our bigger I guess it's probably the biggest national magazine we have here. And it's a real pusher of Agenda 21 and UN stuff without ever really telling you. They spin the stories. So I don't think Maclean's is going to spill the beans as to the reality of what's going on in these elections. I can't see that. Anyways, the debate is hosted by Maclean's, and it is the first of several unconventional debates this election season. Normally, debates are handled through a TV consortium, but those dissolved after Stephen Harper refused to attend, and Thomas Mulcair said he wouldn't be there if Harper wasn't there either. So far, Harper has agreed to participation in only 4 debates, starting with one hosted by Maclean's magazine next Thursday. I guess that is today. Or maybe it's next Thursday. Let's see. It says tonight. So this is Thursday, so I don't know why they're saying next Thursday. The other 3 scheduled throughout the fall are being hosted by Quebec Television Network, TVA, the Munk Debates, and the Globe and Mail Google Canada. Well, the Munk Center has been pushing the globalist agenda for like ever. And Globe and Mail does the same thing. And so these debates are well covered. It's a globalist happy fest, I guess you would call it, because all of the candidates are globalists and all of the media is globalist. And people are going to sit down, I guess, in front of their TV sets and discuss which candidate did better during the debate. It's just a globalist get-together, but the people will sit down, they'll go to the coffee shop tomorrow, and they'll discuss this stuff. Well, even though I do hate Harper, he carried himself well, and he's well spoken, and he does own a band. He does have a band of his own, and goes out and sings sometimes. But the economy's getting soft, and he really does hate the environment, doesn't he? So the NDP candidate, he's for the Canadian people. He's grounded. They'll have these dumbass discussions at the coffee shop tomorrow, which have no bearing in reality whatsoever. But you see, the people won't go and check out Maclean's to find out the background and what they're pushing and why they're pushing it. They won't check out the Munk Center or the Globe and Mail. And I don't understand how the Globe and Mail and Google Canada is involved in this together, but then Google's involved in everything, right? Anyways, the Conservative said Harper will participate in 5 debates, but he has not so far identified the 5th. I'm hoping the 5th is live right here on UCY.TV. That's where I'm hoping the 5th is. I'll have to get a hold of his people tomorrow. I'll have to call Ottawa and say, geez, boys, you got a 5th up there in the air it doesn't look like it's booked anywhere. So why don't you come on down to UCY.TV, bring the other candidates, and we'll have an open debate for a couple hours. It'd be sweet. Anyways, you can see the stream of the debate above and follow along with our play-by-play and commentary below. See, it's a game. You see? It's a game. It's like a hockey game. The play-by-play action and the commentary. And from the booth tonight, it's going to be a big game. You know, why don't you put these dicks in an octagon, you know, and do some of that no holds barred scrapping and see who's standing at the end and we'll vote for them. Speaking of the octagon, geez, I can't believe this is even going on. I say octagon, I looked it down the page here a little bit, and it says Justin Trudeau, the Liberal, goes boxing, works on jabs, knockout punches, and dropping election debate cliches. Wow. No stranger to the ring, Liberal Party leader Justin Trudeau took to the mat Thursday morning at a Yonge Street boxing gym in Toronto to relieve some stress before the first debate of the election campaign. After inviting reporters to a brief photo op at Paul Brown Box Fit, a.k.a. Toronto's white-collar boxing gym, Trudeau played up the debate boxing cliches in advance of the main event. A political showdown with fellow party leaders, Conservative Prime Minister Stephen Harper, NDP opposition leader Thomas Mulcair, and Green Party leader Elizabeth May. Now this is a kicker, right? I'll do a little quick play-by-play here, okay? We all know where Harper's coming from. NDP is members of the Socialist International, the Green Party. Elizabeth May is an American lawyer originally, and she was one of the signatories to the Earth Charter with Mikhail Gorbachev and Morris Strong. That's somebody you want running a country, eh? Yeah, and you will find all of these parties. I know Justin Trudeau is a member, and I know Elizabeth May is a member. I haven't looked lately to see if Mulcair is a leader or is a member, but it doesn't matter. They're members of all of these parties and the Senate and the likes of David Suzuki and some of these other environmentalists are all members of the UNPA, which is the United Nations Parliamentary Assembly, looking to create a UN parliament, a global parliament system, parliamentary system, which will supersede yours. And these people are asking you to vote for them. Now, apparently Maclean's not going to lay any of this stuff on you, nor will the other networks and that are going to put on these things. Anyways, Trudeau goes on to say, I'm looking forward to sparring a little bit, work out some kinks, said Trudeau, who worked out with a coach. This morning seemed like an appropriate time to do some training. Trudeau boxes once a week as a stress reliever and completed a much-publicized charity boxing event in March 2012 on behalf of Fight for the Cure against since-suspended Conservative Senator Patrick Brazeau, who he defeated in the third round in what is considered an upset. Boxing is about as much receiving hits as taking them, Trudeau said, alluring to the verbal match ahead. This is too comical. So I don't know. I mean, Prime Minister Harper has a band, or he sings in a band, and so I don't know. You know, will Harper come out with the band as an opening act, or will Trudeau come out as the opening act? I don't know. Mrs. May, Elizabeth May, who I guess Ms. May, who is a pagan, who is a member of the Earth Charter clan and Agenda 21 and Rio, big player in all of that stuff, who runs around the country here telling everyone she's a practicing Christian. So, you know, we got us a real, I mean, you would be hard to dig up a crew of lowlifes better than this crew of lowlifes. I mean, they must have really looked hard for these guys. But then they're all puppets, eh? And this is what you want in a puppet show. Uh, some entertaining puppets, I guess. So this is what we're dealing with up here. And I know come 2016, when the American election goes off, it's going to be a lot of the same. Okay. And I don't know how these people, other than they're sociopaths, I don't know how they can live with themselves. You know, they all live in big houses. They're all looking for the big money. And you know, if it doesn't really matter, if they lose the election, they'll be with some globalist company on a board somewhere. So you know, it's a stepping stone to their future, and they just don't give a damn about you and I, or your families, or your children, or their grandchildren. I mean, Trudeau's daddy, who was prime minister here for next to ever, Jesuit trained, member of Club of Rome. I mean, what's it take, people? But the average person never hears about any of that stuff. And that's the problem. So maybe what the Canadians who are listening to this might consider doing is just simply run a thing like I ran there, a questionnaire for the candidates, and make it for your local candidates. You know, ask them that question, or ask them if they will, you know, tell the truth. And just make up, you know, 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and start sticking it on the freaking hydro poles. Because, like I said, the only way we're going to get to the average Joe, and we have got to get to the average Joe, is to keep shining the light. And we got to be vocal about it. And that's just the way it is. So, you know, work out your own scheme for wherever you live. And the same thing has to take place in the United States. And you can't start too early, you know. Like I could get in the ring with Trudeau, maybe it would be fun. I'm looking at his moves here, and they're not that spectacular. And why is he stressed out anyways? Because he's lying all the time? That usually tends to stress people out. I mean, if you're living the lie all the time, you can tend to get stressed out, I suppose. Anyways, that's that. Now, oh, they're an ugly bunch. I mean, can I get this in there? All right. Where did UCY go? Now, would you vote for any of these people? I mean, holy crap. Take a look at these people. There's, oh, thank you. Who is, I'm jumping around here, but thank you to Tomato in the chat there. I want to thank you for that. This is another outfit that needs to get outed real bad, and that is the LaRouche outfit. Okay, they're up here in Canada. I know he's out of the United States, but they're up here in Canada too with this nonsensical stuff they're running around with. Make no mistake about it, LaRouche is a New World Order agent. Make no mistake about it. Okay, so I want to thank Tomato for bringing that out. And this is the whole point. This is the whole point, man. The researchers are getting good, man. And this whole idea of this deceptive, controlled opposition crap's going down the toilet. People are getting too bright for that anymore. And it's our time. It's our time to get those researchers that aren't going to get hoodwinked, that aren't sheep, that aren't followers, who are good, solid researchers. Our job is to get that light shining as bright as we bloody well can. And that's how we're going to win this game. You know, they want to talk about it a game. Yeah, it's game. It's game on. Okay, it's game on for our futures. It's game on for our lands. It's game on for our towns. It's game on for our resources. It's a bloody game on. Let's go get them. And I think we can have a whole lot of fun doing it. You know, you know, I've heard for years this doom and gloom crap coming from every corner of the internet, you know, and that all that ever was deception and controlled opposition, right? To take the fire out of your belly, to beat you down mentally. And we're past that now. Okay, we're past that. And now we gotta, like I keep saying, we gotta get up on those moral high horses and we gotta ride them. Because just as the native people showed in that clip, okay, we're just going to stand up our ground. Okay, our ground. You don't come into our area and tell us what we can and can't do. You don't bring these damn globalist corporations in here to destroy our communities. Okay, on the one hand, you bring the globalists in to destroy our countries where they're telling the same group of people who are the globalists are telling us we have to protect the environment. Same crew. Okay? We just got to push them out of here. We got to show them they're not welcome. It's what they used to do in the old days, right? I watched a movie. I was on a show. Well, I wasn't really on it. The guy over on Revolution Radio last night, and the guy who does a show over there, who's also from Canada, he has somebody that brings him into the show there, and couldn't do it last night, so I have the in for the show. So put his show together for him. I guess part-time producer of his show or whatever. And so I listened to the show, and it was pretty interesting. I mean, they were talking about stuff that really doesn't interest me because you can't go anywhere with it. You know, Mayan calendars and all this kind of stuff. But I got talking to some of the guys after the show that were on the show, and we actually had a pretty good discussion about this disinformation and stuff that's going on, and so I don't know, man. It's just it's time. It's absolutely time. Now I left a note on a Facebook, a native Facebook site today, and they're catching on the fact that their leaders are also crooked as hell and liars and schemers and deceivers and sociopaths, looking to benefit themselves while they screw their own people over. A lot of the native people are starting to get drift of that, and so that's good to see. But I had a guy send me a Mohawk flag some years ago, and it's a very pretty flag, and I never put it up. I have a flagpole out front, but I have two houses here in the house. I'm in the back house and the front house. I can't see the flagpole from here, and the flagpole is right fairly close to the road. And I thought, Jesus, somebody's going to steal that flag. So I've had it tucked away for a bit. Then I think it's time to raise it. I do believe that we have a lot to learn from the natives. They have been screwed over since the get-go. Excuse me, and they've had their societies destroyed. They've had their children taken. They were put on reservations and treated like garbage. So, like the native woman I talked to one day and asked her if she understood the plan for Whitey, and She just smiled and nodded at me. And when I said whitey, I mean everybody that's not native. I don't care if you're Chinese or whatever. It doesn't matter. Uh, and she just nodded and smiled. And I said, how come you get it so easy? I've been talking to Whitey for as long as I can remember. It's like talking to a freaking box of rocks. And she said, it's so simple. We lived through it. Now it's your turn. And she's absolutely correct. Okay, the state is taking the children. The state is killing the society. Okay, and they're going to put you on a reserve, just like they did to the natives. Okay, and they're called green communities. Okay, and they're going to herd you in there, and they're going to put you in a little apartment by a rail line. Okay, they're going to dictate how much water you use, how much food you eat, how much heat you get, how much air conditioning you get, and so on and so forth. And they're going to grind your ass in the ground, just like they did to the native people. Okay? And it's time we stood with our brothers and sisters in the native community, because we're all in this game together. And somebody's going to win. And if they keep us divided, there's a good chance they're going to win. So I have to clear these differences out, because if you look at the origin of the word democracy, it seems to come from this thing called Demotech or something. And if you follow that through, what it says is that what democracy actually means is to keep the commoners divided. Okay, and that's why you have two main parties all the time. Okay, that's why you have right and left media. Okay, to keep the commoners divided and fighting amongst themselves, as those who would play God take control of everything, and those who play God consider themselves men. They consider you a human. And they gave you a legal system, which is nothing more than corporate law. Not law, it's corporate bylaws coming through the legislature. So you have a legal system which is opposite of law, and you've been turned into a human, which is an animal, which gives them every right to do whatever the hell they want with you, because as a human, you are looked upon as nothing more than a dumbass animal. Okay? And we got to get back. We got to get back to where we come from. And we didn't come from a legal system, and we didn't come from apes. That's how they got us where we are today. They convinced us that their legal system is law. Legal is not law. Okay, it's similar to like, but not law. And a human is most definitely not a man or a woman. Now, we can get that through our heads, then we know we can stand up. Okay. How do I explain to the brainwashed caste system we, the bottom, are being wiped out? Most don't even know the word genocide. That's absolutely correct. Most don't. Well, I'd look up the word genocide, but my favorite program is going to be on soon. Who's on Survivor tonight, dear? Oh, that'll be exciting, won't it? Kind of people you're talking about? I know there's a it's getting difficult, but I must say I'm seeing some forward movement. I really truly am, and I've been at this a long, long time, and I'm very happy to say. I mean, if I'd put in what I read you about the politicians telling the truth. If I'd done that 4 years ago, I would have heard nothing but noise coming at me, you know? I remember when I first started out in global warming, and good God, that is a very, very long time ago. People were coming at me with knives, man. It was ugly. Not so much anymore, right? People are going, this global warming thing, I think it's crap now. And these are people that believed it wholeheartedly 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. And they don't believe it anymore. Same thing with this whole political system. People who, voted and voted and voted and voted. But I used to do this thing. I'd go to a voting poll, and I would ask people, why are you voting? Well, because we're supposed to. Okay, I get that. But what are the issues? What are the issues that got you here? What are the issues that are important to you? Issues? Issues? Oh, well, that guy said he'd lower our taxes if we voted for him. And do you know anything about the background of this guy? Nope. Or you get the other people who say, how are you going to vote? Well, I'm going to vote liberal or conservative, whatever. Oh, yeah, why is that? Why? Because our family has always voted conservative, liberal, or whatever. Really. So you're going to the voting booth, and you're going to put your X on whatever color it is that your family's always been voting for, and that's good enough for you? Yep. Do you know any of the issues? Nope. Do you care about any of the issues? Nope. That's freaking sad. Like I've said for years, there ought to be some kind of a qualifier before you're allowed to vote. A few simple questions. Do you have a clue? Not sure. Okay, you can't vote. Right? Name 4 issues. Oh, no, you can't vote. Go home. Watch TV. Okay? There ought to be a qualifier. Why do they bring all these immigrants into the countries? One of the reasons is a power base. Okay? As more and more of the people that are here stop voting, they bring in all these immigrants to vote. I mean, how can you have an election if 40% of the people are voting? If you got 40, 50% of the people voting and you say, well, I'm the new president or prime minister, well, how the hell's that work? You said this was democracy. Democracy's 51%. If only 50% of the people vote, you can't get 51%. It's impossible. So it certainly isn't a democracy. It can't be a democracy. Now, I've heard things where they want to do like that. I've heard this where they want to make it mandatory that you have to vote. Again, you don't have to know anything. You just have to vote. It's like you're going to take a vaccine whether you like it or not. I mean, who are these people telling you all this crap? Why do people listen to these people? Why do they do as they're told? I watched a movie last night. Oh, that's what I was going to say about the Revolution Radio. I forgot there for a minute. One of the gentlemen who was a guest on that show last night wanted me to go watch a movie called Salt of the Earth, which I'm pretty sure is UN propaganda crap, but that's okay. It had something to do with some German photographer and the Amazon, so it's got to be UN garbage. But I couldn't find a copy of it. So I did find a copy of a movie called Salt of the Earth, same name, but it came from 1954, which just happened to be when I was born. So I flipped through that, and it was about a New Mexico mining strike, and people living in shanties, the company townhouses and stuff, but no plumbing in them or nothing. And apparently the white miners at other miners had plumbing and sanitation or that, and it was about a struggle about these people. And again, it became a fight amongst themselves. The women wanted the sanitation, the guys wanted better wages, and the big guys are saying, you know, you're the women, you stay at home, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, we'll look after it. And, you know, a lot of arrests and whatnot. And it's actually not a bad little movie. You know, the head honchos come down and try to figure this out, and they're trying to bust the strike. And finally, they decide they're not going to negotiate with these miners. They're just going to chuck them out of their houses and throw them off the company land. And so they went in and they started removing furniture and that from one of the houses. And slowly, everybody started to show up. And the women actually went and started, as they're pulling the furniture out the front door, the women are picking up and taking it around, bringing it back in the house through the back door, and simply saying, "We are not going to lay down," was the message. And it's the same thing when I you know, I watched that movie last night, and then I saw that video that I put into the chat of the native people on the East Coast, and it's the same thing. They just came to the resolve that we are not backing down. And they brought their people in. And they weren't being violent. They just simply said no. And somebody again has to blink. And in both cases, the oppressor blinked and had to back out of there. And that's all that needs to be done. You don't need people running around shooting at each other with AK-47s and all that kind of stuff. Now, at the same time I say that, you know, don't give up your damn guns, okay? Do not give up your guns. That's the worst possible thing you could do. Don't ever do that. And practice. Become a good marksman. But the trick is that they're there if needed, but it's not a first offensive, if you will. Okay, all we need is bodies and some strong minds and strong backs and a lot of willpower, and you can back anything down. Okay, because once you've picked the moral high ground and you decide that's your ground and you ain't getting off it, they lose. But we cannot allow, stand back and allow our people to be taken down one at a time or shoved away one at a time. Okay, we can't go there. We have to come to the assistance of each other en masse. And they'll back down. Now, I got a call here. I don't know who it is, but we ain't got much time left. A caller? Have I got you in here? Okay, for some reason I can't get this call in here, so we're just going to run through here for the last few minutes. It sounds like he's saying we need Mexicans. Get this, okay, my friend. There's nothing wrong with Mexicans, okay? I went down and worked in Florida after the Hurricane Andrew. And I'm not one that likes, I want to meet the people, right? I'm not interested in resorts. Wherever I am, I want to know the people. I met some just beautiful Hispanics down there, okay? You don't get confused by what's going on in the media and that, what's going on the border, denounce Mexicans. Mexicans are people too, okay? You cannot equate what's going on there. It's not a coup attempt, okay? It's not a coup attempt. The Mexicans are not trying to pull a coup. The American government is trying to destroy your society. That's the deal that's going on. Okay? That's the deal. And that's why your border is so porous. Okay? They are trying to destroy your society, or as Morris Strong said, is no hope for the planet that the industrialized West collapse. Isn't it our duty to help bring that about? Okay, so this Mexican thing is part of that. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. Now I get bitch slapped. Okay. Mexicans get shit done. That's why I said what I said. Okay. I stand corrected then. No, it's true. These are people that had a hard life, just like the native people that had a hard life. And we've had it pretty easy, and we've been softened because we've had it so easy. And I think that's why the average people in Canada, United States, have forgotten how to stand up, and we can learn from the indigenous people. We can learn how to stand up, and we have to. And we will, I have no doubt in my mind about it. We will stand up. And, Mexicans are just a tool of the banking cartel. That's absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. And a lot of these people don't understand how badly they're being manipulated, and that's the problem. So when I say, we're all brothers and sisters, we are. And we have to cut this divide and this chaos and this struggle amongst each other and zone in what the actual problem is. And if we can do that, the problem's going to go away. Okay? Or we're going to pick up the problem. We'll put the problem behind bars. Or maybe that's who we need to send to Mars to populate Mars. This gather up has been controlling the planet for so long, put them on a ship and send them out of here. All the drugs that have come in, all the gunplay, all that stuff it's not normal. Okay? People aren't like that. They've been made like that. Okay, they were made that way. They weren't born that way. So if we can show a different, better way to do things, then the violence, the drugs will all start to disappear, and people will get back to what they're supposed to be doing. That's raising families and looking out for their own community. And I mean, basically guarding it. It's the same thing in the original. Where was that? Virginia or wherever. When they were setting up the lawyers, the original 13 colonies or whatever, they were throwing lawyers out of there. They were banning lawyers from their communities. That's what we got to start doing again. You can't do nothing in your life without a lawyer attached to it. You don't need a lawyer, but they've got this set up through the legal system, so you can't do nothing without a lawyer. That's got to get changed. And the sooner the better. So, anyways, this I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to enjoy these Tuesday and Thursday night shows. I really truly believe it. I like this 1 hour stuff. It's nice. It's quick. We're going to start getting calls next week in this 1 hour. I just want to get through these two shows, and we will have some fun here, and carry on from there. So anyways, it's, what do we got here? 7:58. I hear the music. I want to thank everybody for being participants. And the chat here is great. And to all the listeners and Y.TV, I want to thank everybody. And God willing, we'll be talking to you Sunday. Hey, everybody take care. I'm gone. Bye-bye.